Hello, everyone. I think we are live. Hi, everyone. How are you doing today? My name is Margie Alaprandi, and I am super stoked about this conversation, this interview that you're going to be able to take a look at today. Um, I have been passionate and been involved in health and wellness over 35 years, maybe even almost 40 years. Isn't that crazy? And I have worked with some of the most renowned researchers, scientists, to public health advocates, researchers. I just have had the good fortune of being acquainted with and working side by side with some extraordinarily brilliant people. And let me just tell you what I've been hearing recently. I'm hearing more than ever before people saying, I feel so lethargic. I can't get rid of the brain fog. I'm hearing people with this cry for help. And so, my friend Alan Jones, you're the first one I think of when I think of experts on energy. And for those who may not be familiar with you and your work, I want to just give a quick introduction here, and then we'll jump into the goods. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Ready for this? Okay, so Alan Jones, after graduating with a degree in kinesiology in 1991, went on to earn his master's of science degree in human nutrition. And his particular passion is nutritional biochemistry. He has a deep understanding of individual nutrients, their benefits, and this passion of his and his expertise has led him to create over 2,000, you guys, formulas in his 25-year career as a product formulator and as a manufacturer. So his formulas, get this, his formulas have generated revenues for his clients, and some of his clients are Costco, Walmart, CVS, some of the big dudes, have generated over 10 billion US dollars of sales. So do you think this guy knows a thing or two about energy? His creation of the first 2-ounce energy shots in 2003 really led him into this fascination and this ever refining understanding of this new and absolutely giant category of dietary supplements and sports nutrition category. This is going to, by 2020, this is generating $2 billion in US revenue, just this category. So when I think of experts about energy, I think about Alan Jones. And I don't think I'm being too presumptive to say that you view your creation of this new energy product as a pinnacle achievement, because the science has continued to be refined, and this is your baby. So welcome, Alan. So happy to have you with us today. Let's start by just educating us a little bit, if you would. What is real energy? Not the hyped up, jittery kind of energy. What's real energy? Where does it come from?
Yeah, well, real energy comes from a number of places, but one of the things that we want to differentiate right off the bat is real energy versus artificial, highly stimulating energy. Things such as, really highly caffeinated drinks and shots and beverages, things that are using other types of stimulants to artificially elevate your body's, quote, energy levels, which really are not what we would consider true energy. That's just kind of a false feeling of energy because it artificially elevates and gets you to a place where you feel like you've got a lot of energy. But the problem with that is you typically are going to crash and burn really, really hard on top of that.
Well, I've always had the feeling when I see people downing these giant monster drinks and these 4-hour, I don't even know what they're really called, but like the 4-hour, 8-hour energy kind of thing. I've always had this feeling that there's a diminishing returns, and that the short-term energy they're getting from these kinds of beverages is going to have a long-term cost that isn't worth it. Is that accurate?
Oh, I think it's very accurate. I think one of the things that we're seeing fairly consistently right now is that people that are consuming these artificially elevating stimulants are suffering from, burnout adrenal glands, lower energy levels. They have to drink more to get any type of quote perceived benefit from them, versus a product like what we've created with Go, that you get a more natural energy, because we're more interested in nourishing our bodies and our brain's mitochondria at the mitochondrial level, which, if you think about, Margie, what the mitochondria is, within a brain cell, or within a muscle cell, or virtually every cell in our body, they have these little engines called mitochondria. And when you can nourish those mitochondria and provide optimal nourishment to your mitochondria, then your mitochondria works much, much better. And your cells function much better, and your energy levels are naturally elevated because everything's just functioning at an optimal level. And that's really the philosophy that we took when we created the Go, was let's look at it from the aspect of the mitochondria. How can we make cells function better? How can we make cells communicate better, which is another benefit of the Go. We'll talk a little bit about that here in just a minute. But when you start talking about energy, natural energy, it all starts with the mitochondria.
Well, and I remember learning, like when I go in my files, right, from the science class, I remember hearing ATP, right, that the mitochondria is responsible for producing ATP, which is in fact cellular energy, correct?
Cellular energy, that's correct. It is.
Do you think that I've been doing this for 35, 40 years, right? I've been doing this for a little while. And the thing that I always have people ask me for is, I want to lose weight and I need more energy. Like, it's the number 1 or 2 request always. But I've never heard it more than I am recently. Like, just a cry for help. Like, I am lethargic. I can't pull myself off the couch. Like, is there a correlation between some of the uncertainty, some of the kind of craziness in the world right now, and maybe a higher stress level? Like, tell us about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're dealing with a high level of stress, like virtually everybody is right now, and it doesn't matter if you're having to homeschool your kids at home, or stressed because, you think about it, over 30% of small businesses have gone out of business over the course of the last 6 months. It's a scary situation, and there are a lot of people that are out of work and trying to just figure out how to take care of their families. Well, when that stress is at that high of a level, you have a hormone in there called cortisol, and that cortisol suppresses a lot of the neurotransmitters and a lot of the things that help our bodies help our brains stay in a very, very positive, elevated mood. So absolutely, when you're dealing with high levels of stress, that stress is going to lead to people being very, very tired, very lethargic, a lot of brain fog, and inability to function, lowered cognitive abilities, mental processes that they're not able to, go forward and fulfill. So yes, it has a huge impact on people's lives, all the way from energy to brain function to some people just can't even function and get out of bed. And so that's why we're seeing a lot of the things that we're seeing today. So yes, it is a very serious problem.
Well, it makes so much sense to hear you say that, because it corroborates my experience in, the people that I'm talking to day in, day out right now. So one of the things that was so impressive as I started kind of researching this product and learning a little bit more about the ingredient lineup, are you freaking kidding me? Like, this product does, first of all, not only does it not do the damage that some of the stimulatory, highly caffeinated and other stimulants in them, it not only does it not have that downside, but holy smokes, the upside of the ingredient deck. I hardly even know where to go here, but I guess Go, speaking of go. Clean energy, like productivity in a packet, all of these things come to mind as I've researched the lineup here. But maybe you said brain fog. I know one of the many, many things this formula does is that it promotes the creation of acetylcholine. Explain that, just a little bit of the science of what that means in terms of neurotransmitters with the brain and all of those things, if you could.
Okay, well, yeah, acetylcholine is one of the neurotransmitters within our brain that we affect in a very, very positive way. We have an ingredient in our product called alpha glyceryl phosphoryl choline, or alpha GPC for short. Alpha GPC is a form of choline that has the ability to freely cross a protective barrier from our central nervous system into our brains called get this, it's actually called the blood-brain barrier. Okay.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
so the blood-brain barrier is a mechanism that our body uses to protect our brains from harmful chemicals, from harmful things. The vast majority of forms of choline, which is an essential B vitamin, by the way, but the vast majority of the forms of choline that we have access to do not have the ability to freely cross the blood-brain barrier. Okay. And so with alpha GPC, it is the one form of choline that has the ability to freely cross the blood-brain barrier, enter the brain, enter into our brain cells, and be converted directly into acetylcholine. Now, here's the importance of acetylcholine.
Okay.
Acetylcholine is vitally important to transmit signals from our brains to every part of our body. Wow. So in other words, I'm seeing you on this Zoom call right now, right?
Yeah.
So it goes into my eye. That signal is converted into a message that goes to my brain that says, hey, Margie's on Zoom, right? Well, that's all driven by acetylcholine. So wow. Me moving my hands, me taking a step, me hand-eye coordination, trying to catch off, trying to catch or football, all of those movements are dictated by optimal levels of acetylcholine. And that's why one of the reasons why alpha GPC has been shown to improve not only cognitive performance, but athletic performance as well, because wow. It improves hand-eye coordination. It's great for baseball players, great for golfers. And this is, I'm telling you right now, this is the perfect drink to drink about 30 minutes before you go play golf. So,
yeah, you're talking now about, this feels like it's opposite of dull, right? This is quick. This is reaction. This is all to do with reaction time. I mean, does it tie in with the firing of the synapses in the brain and neurotransmitters and the way that it all communicates to give our bodies the messages to carry out from the brain faster? It makes it all faster.
Both sending and receiving. Right? Because you got to remember, our brain is a huge it's a huge antenna. We receive lots and lots of signals, right? Well, we also send and transmit a lot of things from our brain throughout our body as well. Just the fact that I'm speaking to you right now means that acetylcholine is working like it's supposed to be working. So absolutely, just, transmitting, receiving, sending, all those things are incredibly reliant upon acetylcholine.
Fascinating. It's fascinating. I wonder about, if somebody were to just say, so here's a box of the orange citrus. If someone were to look at the amount of caffeine they might, and they're a caffeine junkie, they might go, oh, I need more caffeine. It's not enough. Can you explain, when you formulated this product, how you utilize caffeine compared to how some of these falsely stimulatory beverages utilize caffeine?
Absolutely. Caffeine has a number of functions in the body. It can function as a stimulant. It can function as a diuretic, or it can function as a catalyst. And you'll notice, Margie, in certain medications in the pharmaceutical world, it is well known that caffeine is a tremendous catalyst. It actually increases the effectiveness of a number of different medications that we take. So our desire to use caffeine is as a catalyst. Okay.
Ah,
We're interested in improving mitochondrial function. We're interested in improving neurotransmitter production and utilization. We're not interested in overstimulating the body, giving somebody jitters and causing them to crash. That is
yeah,
counterproductive of what we're trying to do. We're also not interested in sending people to the restroom numerous times a day as a diuretic as well. So
yeah.
higher levels of caffeine will cause overstimulation, hyperstimulation. It will cause nervousness, jitteriness. It'll cause you to crash. It'll also cause you to have to go to the restroom a number of times, and that's not what we're looking for. What we want is just enough caffeine in there to be a catalyst for the production of those neurotransmitters, those brain-derived neurochemicals that are essential for our brain to function at an optimal level. And that's the reason that we only use 100 milligrams of caffeine. We're not looking for caffeine junkies. We don't need to be a caffeine junkie. We need
Amen.
real energy.
Amen. Clean energy.
That's right.
Energy
Balance.
that is sustainable and balanced.
Right.
Bye-bye brain fog, bye-bye sluggishness, but you're not going to be burning out your adrenals and all of the downside, challenging things that can happen when you consume these falsely stimulatory beverages, correct?
Absolutely. That's exactly the function and philosophy that we used when we created the product.
So this amazing product, no sugar also, right? No sugar
Right.
consequence. Some of these caffeinated drinks are so loaded with sugar that also is like a double crash. And I know from having hung out with people that do a lot of caffeine and also a lot of sugar, that it's almost as hard to get off of that fix as it is to get off of heroin. I mean, it's really, and diminishing returns for the body, right?
Right. Well, let me tell you something. It used to be thought, I'm going to go back in time a little bit, but it used to be thought that our brains only develop to
Say that one more
22,
time.
23. 20.
You cut out for a minute. Say that one more time.
I'm sorry. So it used to be thought that our brains only developed brain cells up to a certain point in our lives. And after that, it quit developing brain cells. And so, you remember growing up, you always said, man, you better not do that because you don't want to be killing off those brain cells. You don't want to do this to your brain, right? And we've all heard that. It was a huge myth. And now what we know is that our brains continue to develop brain cells all the way through the entire lifespan of our bodies. Up until the day we die, our brains are still producing brain cells, which makes nourishing those brain cells incredibly important. Very important. Margie, a few years back, hadn't been that long ago, but I was privileged to get to work beside one of the top neurosurgeons in the world. And this was phenomenal because I learned so much. I've always been a student about the brain, and I've always wanted to learn about the brain and know more and as much as I could, because I love to influence the activity of the brain, the effectiveness of the brain, the efficiency of the brain, and all those things.
It's the main board, right? It runs everything.
Right. And so I've seen a lot of people with really, really strong bodies, and their brains go and their bodies are worthless. Right. But I've seen people that are complete quadriplegics, have no function from here down, have incredibly strong brains and are totally functioning people.
Yeah.
So the brain, strong body, but strong brain is the most important part of this equation. It's not spend time in the gym. It's figure out how to nourish your brain. Now, exercise is an incredibly important part of that. Sleep is an incredibly important part of that.
Yes.
Getting out in the sunshine is an incredibly important part of that. Relationship is amazingly important.
Right.
Connection.
Yes.
That's right.
All kinds of endorphins going off.
Yeah, but when I was functioning, or when I was participating as part of this team of neuroscientists and neurosurgeons, and we were building programs and we were doing research and we did a lot of studies on what affects the brain. One of the questions that I asked our head researcher, our head neurosurgeon, was, why is it that people wait until after their brains are broken before they start to do something about it. And he looked at me and he said, man, I've asked that question a million times. I do not get it. But the reason is because we're not taught that the brain is dependent upon what we eat. So I'm going to go back to your original point.
Yes.
Sugar. If you look at Alzheimer's and if you look at some of these diseases, they have actually been termed diabetes type 3. There's a reason why. Because insulin has a very negative effect on our brain cells. So what we eat, what we put in our bodies, directly affects how our brain cells function, how our brain cells perform in any variety of situations, and the long-term health of those brain cells. So when we created Go, it was incredibly important that we did not create a product that caused an elevation of insulin. Okay. Yep. And the way that you do that is you've got to leave the glucose out. You've got to leave the sugar out. Keep it out of there so that you don't get a spike in insulin. Exactly. That's why it's keto friendly.
And so it tastes great. It tastes absolutely great. And what, you know, if you're listening to this, what creates that abundance or that flooding in of insulin is when blood sugar raises too rapidly. And then you've got all of the challenges that go with insulin. I did not realize that it had a negative effect on brain health.
Oh yeah.
But also, you know, it's a storage hormone. So once you get that, you know, a little bit of energy stored as glycogen in the liver, everything else stores as fat. So insulin, you don't want to have a spike in your blood sugar raising too quickly, and you don't want insulin flooding in. Just ask, is there anything, I mean, I look at the ingredient deck here and I'm like, whoa, this is like a functional health beverage on freaking steroids with all of the goodness, the benefit, not just energy, not just not sugar, but all the health benefits. My heavens, we could go on and on, but I want to ask, in the interest of time, if there's just maybe one or maybe two of the ingredients that you think also make this the most singular healthy productivity in a packet, healthy clean energy on the market. Is there any other differentiating things that you want to bring to our attention?
Oh, well, yeah, there's several of them, and I would love to have about another hour to be able to talk about all the ingredients and all their functions. But think about L-theanine. L-theanine is an amino acid that helps to increase and improve the function of alpha waves in our brain. And so think about being able to take an amino acid that actually helps to improve and elevate the function of our brain, but keep us amazingly relaxed while doing so. It also helps to increase a neurotrophic factor called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And we're starting to learn more and more and more about BDNF. Now, we also know that sleep increases BDNF. We also know that exercise increases BDNF, but we now know that Go increases BDNF as well. And so when you can have that constant supply and that constant elevation of BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor, it helps your brain function better and helps the brain remain healthier for longer. Another amino acid in the product is an amino acid called L-tyrosine. It's an essential amino acid.
Yes.
That is a precursor to several neurotransmitters and neurochemicals within our brains. Tyrosine has been around for a long time, and it doesn't get the justice that it needs because of its ability to benefit brain function and brain health. So when you start talking about neurotransmitters like epinephrine, norepinephrine, adrenaline, things like that, you know, when somebody is suffering from lethargy, when somebody's suffering from severe tiredness, those are the neurotransmitters that are out of balance.
Yeah.
Okay. And so L-tyrosine, we call it in the science world, we call it L-tyrosine. It's your mood amino acid. It's a stress buster. It's a mitigator of the effects of stress, but it will elevate moods. And I tell you what, it will put you in a good mood. It puts you in a positive mood. It helps your brain function better. And it is an amazing amino acid that people should take for optimal brain health every single day.
Well, and
So another herb in the product is bacopa. It's an Ayurvedic herb.
amazing.
Yeah, bacopa is awesome when it comes to brain function and brain health. And there's a ton of research showing that it improves cognitive ability and mitigates cognitive impairments. So
Well, and
a lot of really positive things.
like 360-degree, the Bacopa, what it does for recall, for, obviously for memory, the
Short-term memory.
learning,
Mhm.
yeah, learning new information, and even healthy brain aging, right?
That's
And
right. That's right.
this is like all day, every day, man. I just absolutely love this product. It is so,
It's
it's so
it's
special.
funny. Yeah, you've got your citrus. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
Every
I love
morning.
it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love
That's
it.
yeah.
Um, so let's say, who can take this, who can't? Like, say that there's, somebody in their teens, can they take it? Kids starting back now to these, to upper school
Oh,
and college, man, they can use a little bit more mental focus. Who can take it, who can't?
yeah. Let me tell you, anybody that's in any type of a stressful situation that they're having to use their brains or having to, do, any type of activity. They've got huge assignments that are due, projects that are due. I tell you what, it doesn't matter if you're a lawyer, an attorney, uh, a mom at home trying to take care and homeschool kids. It is a fantastic product to help keep your kids focused, all right, and prevent them from being easily distracted. It is a tremendous beverage. Now, you might not start off, if you're giving a 12, 13, 14-year-old kiddo, you might not start off with a full dosage of Go. But let me tell you something, if you do a half dose and see how they're doing with it, absolutely.
Half
Take the
dose.
packet, put a little bit in water, let them drink it down, and watch how it benefits them. I will tell you this. I have given my kids this product for a very long time. This is a formula that's been in the works for a very long time. It really is.
For
And so,
such a time as this, Alan, for such a time
absolutely.
as this. Oh, look at you with your beautiful bride there. So
Goodness.
here we go. There are a few different flavors. Some people absolutely adore the acai pomegranate. What I guess want to share now is that whoever shared this information with you, they got access to this product. It's not something you can just go buy, but get with the person who shared this information with you, and they'll help you get a discount on your first order, maybe even help you get some free stuff along with it. So be sure that you hook up with them and get the information so that you can get this product. When I hear this kind of science, I want my body. Well, first of all, I love having extra energy, but I want my body to have these benefits. I want my brain to have, I want my brain to be strong. I want my brain to have these benefits. You've done a stellar job. I know that this is a pinnacle of your expert career. And just any last words about this clean energy, productivity in a packet, motivation in a packet. Let's go wake up our brain. Bye-bye brain fog. What else do you want to say, Alan, to wrap us this
Yeah. Well, I just think it's imperative that people understand that taking care of our brains, um, it used to not be a big deal. Today, it's a big deal, guys. When you're talking about the prevalence of all these brain-related issues that are just continuing to rise and rise and rise, it's all about what we nourish our brains with. Our brains are 60% fat. Okay, think about this, Margie. 60% fat in our brain cells. And so when we're consuming a low-fat diet or something to that extent, we're actually depriving. We're starving our brain of an essential nutrient. Now, the type of fat is incredibly important. You can't go have these processed vegetable oil fats and things like that.
Yeah.
Those are no good. I'm talking about real whole food fat for our brains. Proteins, very good for our brains. Carbohydrates, not so good for our brains. So pay attention to what we put in our brains, making sure you're getting those essential fatty acids, making sure you're taking your omega-3s every single day. Let me tell you something, I take between 8 and 10 grams of omega-3s religiously. And that's what I learned when I worked with our neuroscience team. And I can tell you what, they do the same thing.
Yep.
So taking 750 milligrams of an omega-3, not enough. Not enough. I'm telling you right now.
More omega-3s.
More omega-3s, essential fats, good for your brain, right? Making sure
Yep.
we're nourishing those mitochondria. So last word is strong brain, strong body, and it doesn't work the other way. So
Wow, yes, amen to that. And lots of water, right? Lots of water.
absolutely, absolutely, always.
But one word you mentioned earlier, and I just wanted to say a big hallelujah, because you're singing my song, baby, when you say prevention, right? Like, why in our Western world do we wait until we're broken down? Why not supply the body with these amazing nutrients and
That's right.
get a little get up and go in the meantime? So
That's
get
right.
with the person that shared this information with you. And thanks for joining in today. Bye, everyone.